Coming up on Tech News Today, Google Plus opens to non-humans. The RIAA hints it might need a little something stronger than the DMCA. It's developing a tolerance for it, apparently. And a way to make sure nobody can control the internet. All that and more coming up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This, why it's Tech News Today for Monday, November 7th, 2011. Tech News Today is brought to you by Ford, featuring voice-activated sync app link. Now you can control select smartphone apps with your voice so you keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. Check it out in the 2012 Ford Fiesta and at Ford.com/technology. And by Slingbox, which just turned your iPad into a television. Slingbox introduces their new iPad apps, and now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at Best Buy or Slingbox.com. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar. I'm Jason Howell.
And joining us to kick around the Tech News Today is Mr. Mike Schramm, contributing editor at the unofficial Apple weblog and Joystick. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
I'm Mike Schramm. Thank you very much. I don't do a lot of video podcasts, so I apologize if anyone is frightened by my appearance.
Why would they be frightened by your appearance?
I did like as Tom came up, he did do what I've been doing this whole time, which is he checked his appearance real quick and made sure he was good to go. So it's good to know that even after you're a veteran, you still sort of have to check in and make sure everything looks the way it's supposed to look.
A lot of people probably don't believe that I check my appearance, but yes. I don't always do anything about it, but I check it, just so I know. I want to thank everyone who voted for us in the Podcast Awards, podcastawards.com. We won.
Whoa! We won Best Tech Podcast.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
This Week in Tech also won in the Best Video Podcast, so congratulations to Leo and Eileen.
And everybody who's a regular guest.
Yeah, and everybody who contributes to that. And, Scott Johnson, friend of the show.
The Morning Stream.
Wow. Took 3 Frog Pants shows home.
Yeah, I saw that. And I am a fan of all Scott's shows, and he did a great job. And Film Sack is an excellent show, and also In the Frog Pants, Coverville is a great show. Although everyone listens to Coverville, right?
Yeah, what am I thinking, Scott, for Coverville? That's all Ibit. Go with it. All right. Let's kick off the news today with Google Plus announcing. That's when an announcement is really intense.
Like
the announcing of Google Plus pages. These are pages for not humans, brand pages that will allow you to have a company or a brand. In fact, there's 5 different categories you can choose when you sign up for pages. You can be a local business or place, brand or product, company, institution, or organization, arts, entertainment, or sports, or other. So you can
Sounds
be
a lot
pretty
like
much
a Facebook page.
You can be pretty much anything.
Where you end up with a lot of others.
Pages have to wait until a user adds them before they start showing content. So somebody can't just put you in their circles or notifications or anything. They work a little differently than other Google Plus pages. And they're in limited release. Not everybody's going to be able to start a page for their business or brand up today. It's going to roll out over the next few days. And once you sign up a brand, you're the admin. Your Google account becomes the admin of that. They don't have more than one admin right now.
So, all right. We've been waiting for this for a while. We knew that Google was eventually going to figure out this brand issue with Google+, where obviously there are a lot of brands. Many of them could be not only helpful to Google+, but bring a lot more people into the conversation. So now they've done it. And with a limited amount of brands, New York Times, for example, that's an obvious example. I went to their page. They had sort of a nice little welcome page, and I just thought, I don't know, this almost seems like brands that get Tumblr logs on Tumblr that are sort of like in conjunction with their official blog that they're already running or their service that, they already employ a lot of people to contribute to. I'm not sure the way that I use Google Plus has room for this sort of thing because right now I feel like I'm having conversations with a lot of individuals, and I don't like that about Facebook either, having brand stuff that shows up in my news stream, and so I've unfollowed. I've unliked a lot of pages, not because I don't like them, just because it confuses me.
I do it on Twitter a lot, right? And it works that way, but it's not the way I use Google+. I might sign up for breaking news's account on Google Plus because I know how that works, but I don't really want to follow Starbucks or Walmart. Well, I don't want to follow those.
I think this gives businesses a unique chance. I mean, Michael Dell was doing this a while ago. He was doing like unannounced Hangouts, and the idea was he was thinking, what if we made like Dell support using Google Hangouts? What if we could use these tools to connect with our customers in a different way? I mean, obviously Facebook has its own like set of pages and things, but interaction isn't exactly the same as is on Plus. I mean, Google Plus is pretty tech-centric still, even though it's only, I think it has over 25 million users, but the first wave were all tech people. So, I mean, it seems like they have a good chance to really get a different kind of commitment with a user. Because the thing is, like, even HTC, right, they always announce things on their Facebook page. And they're like, okay, we're going to have our unlocked bootloader. That whole disaster was on Facebook. So I think this is a good opportunity for these guys to do something different with Google+. I think Hangouts might actually be interesting for small businesses. Like, you know, hey, we're going to do a Hangout, show up, and we'll give you, I don't know, a Google deal or something strange. But one of the worst things about this thing I've noticed is that there's no Places integration. So if you have Google Places, like you have little...
They said that they want to do it down the road, but they're not launching with it.
It's split. I mean, that seems really irritating because you want to have a presence on Google.
You can link the two.
Well, they should just be integrated outright because your company data should be there. It should, when you look up a pizza place, it should have the phone number right there instead of going, oh, I'll go to their link to Google Places and they have it there. I think it's a good start, though.
I do want to give a shout out to the Muppets, which is my favorite Google Plus page so far. And they are doing a hangout this afternoon with Miss Piggy and Kermit, which is like a lifetime dream. Like you can do a Google Hangout with the Muppets. So I think that's really awesome. I think you're right. Hangouts is probably the most sticky feature that only Google has come across. And you know, brand Hangouts might be interesting to do, have celebrities promote a movie or something like that. The biggest problem I have with it, I mean, you're right, Tom. I don't really want to follow brands the way that I want to follow friends or share things with friends and do things like that. But the layout is just so weird. Like even if you go to the Pepsi page, they're still doing that weird thing where you change up your photos to draw a line across the top. The layout is just really, really strange to it. It's not like you can put a special background in there or special graphics across the top. You really have to sort of hack the system and, you know, put certain pictures in there to show there's the Pepsi page. You can kind of see, like, you kind of have to hack it a little bit to put those pictures in there. And it's weird with all the stuff they've done for brands that they still have to go around and figure out how to do that kind of stuff with it. So,
I mean, yeah, I guess what everyone's wondering is why isn't it complete when they took how long it was, 6 months after the official release of Google Plus to people to do it. But there's a lot of back-end work that you don't see, and they want to make it different. There are differences between the way pages work and the way real folks' pages work. So they want to make that work. They don't want it to break, and I think that's why you don't see things like integration with Places and some of these layout issues that look a little wonky. I do want to point out that Google is trying to move us back into the AOL keyword search era by introducing something called Direct Connect. Now brands, when they have a page, can say, I want to direct connect with that page using the Google search engine. You just type a plus sign and the name of the brand, and you will actually be taken directly to their Google Plus brand page.
This seems like a great way to get traction for, I mean, just Google Plus in general. You have the search, you're using it already. If you want to go, oh, I want to see this brand, just add the plus symbol instead of trying to figure out what kind of URL do they manage to get, especially newer companies because they have...
Yeah, instead of a straightforward URL that takes you to their web page, it's much better to put a keyword into a search engine.
Well, I mean, a lot of people just say, just search for us on Google nowadays. Because getting a URL, like a 4-letter URL, is like, that's a big business. That costs a lot of money to get something like a twit.tv or oink.com. Like, you have to spend money for that.
You could say, like, type plus Pepsi into Google, and that's what people will find it. And that may end up being the kicker on this thing. Everywhere Google happens to be, including in your browser, likely, it just goes straight to that page where you can mark it however you want. It is interesting. I wanted to mention on this, Google actually used to use that plus modifier for something else in the search. I believe it was like you could add on extra parts of your search to it, and they removed that functionality a little while ago, and now this is clearly why, because they decided to take it over and use it for themselves. So
yeah, Google said you should use quotation marks if you want to combine terms instead.
Yeah, you can still combine them, but you can't use that plus modifier anymore. But no, and maybe this is the thing is, this is what Google has kind of wanted with your Plus network and with your account stuff. This is that entry page for brands to put wherever they want, and it's easily accessible from Google, which is easily accessible from pretty much everything else.
Well, the first thing I did, Mike, when you mentioned the Muppets was go ahead and plussed the Muppets. And sure enough, their page came right up. And this is a lot more fun for me than the Pepsi page because it's a different kind of a brand. I mean, I know they're promoting a movie, but it just depends on the brand.
And presumably, people can use this to get around the real names policy. You'll have different restrictions on what you can do, and people will have to add you. It won't work exactly like Google Plus pages, but if I want to be a pseudonym, then that would be my brand, and I'd set up a business page that way.
Which will make a lot of people happy. They've been waiting for that a long time.
Barnes & Noble did have their Nook announcement this morning, and it was pretty close to the leak that we talked about last Friday. Nook tablet was announced, $249, available November 17th with 1080p video, 1 gigahertz dual-core processor, gigabyte of RAM, IPS display, that's the same type of display used in the iPad, with a 180-degree viewing angle, 16 gigs of storage and 32 with an SD card, so you got lots of storage in there. Unprecedented Netflix integration, although the video that The Verge did showing the Netflix app pretty much just looked like the normal Netflix app. Also Hulu preloaded on this. They introduced something called Nook Cloud. They're kind of tepid about it. They're like, look, you got 16 gigabytes of storage. You don't really need the cloud. But we have a cloud service called Nook Cloud, but you don't have to use it. But if you want to use it, it's there. But they kind of went back and forth on it. It will be available at Barnes & Noble, of course, as well as Best Buy, Target, Walmart, Radio Shack, Office Max, Staples, and more. They also launched Nook stations in the Barnes & Noble stores today. So that's kind of their
it almost
one
looks
of their
like something
separating
you'd
points.
see at CES.
They're trying to separate themselves from Amazon, saying you can come into our store and go into the Nook and look at the Nook.
Yeah. I mean, they're nice.
Do they call it the Nook, or is that just a catchy name that you came up with?
I just came up with that.
Because that's pretty good. I like
They should call it that.
Yeah.
It's the Nook Station is what it is. The new Nook tablet, $249, $50 more than the Kindle Fire. So a lot of people are going to be comparing these. It looks just like the Nook Color. It looks like it might be a little lighter in the pictures I've seen than the Nook Color, but pretty much the same exterior appearance. And, of course, we know that the Kindle Fire looks like a BlackBerry Playbook. So I have the stunt doubles here. Nook Color, BlackBerry Playbook. This is what you're going to be facing. This is the choice in whatever these are called. They're not e-readers. They're not full-on tablets. They're sort of Tablireaders.
I thought it was interesting that the Nook Color has a mono speaker, but the Nook tablet has none.
The Nook Color has a mono speaker, and the Nook tablet has no speaker?
Right.
Wait, the Nook tablet has no speaker?
Yeah.
I did not
based on this little chart that I'm showing right now.
No speaker.
There's
Kindle
no
Fire
speaker
has
listed.
stereo speakers. iPad 2 has a mono speaker.
How can a tablet
That's
not have a
interesting.
speaker?
Yeah.
That
I
can't be
know.
right.
Yeah, so much for gaming.
Well, I mean, if they've got Hulu and Netflix, I mean, they've got a headphone jack. They just don't have an external speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, PC World says the same thing. It's missing Bluetooth. It has no built-in Bluetooth, has no stereo speakers, GPS front or rear-facing cameras. That I didn't even notice. I mean, I didn't notice the speaker thing in
The
particular.
Bluetooth thing doesn't shock me.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to, I guess so you have to plug in all the time to listen to audio. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's the
Most
unprecedented.
people will,
Maybe that's the unprecedented Netflix experience where you can't hear anything with this tablet right off the bat. I know you guys keep knocking the Nooks. I still think that people want to touch these devices, and sometimes people want to ask questions that they can't. When you try to call Amazon, try to talk to somebody over there.
Yeah, but you can get the Kindle in a store, too.
It's not the same kind of expertise.
It's not like the...
versus Barnes & Noble trying to push
Right.
that.
Barnes & Noble, very much computer expertise store. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about for the general
everybody in there
public.
will know exactly what you're talking
There's a
about.
general
You can
public
get a
out
Kindle
there.
in a similar situation. That's all I'm
Iyaz
saying.
just really likes the Nook.
No, I just
He's
think
gonna
that
go hang out at
what
a
I'm
Nook
getting
near
at is
him.
that the market is shaken down like a whole bunch of tablets that didn't really make it. The Playbook is one of them, right? We've seen these other things out there. So what I'm saying is Barnes & Noble's, they might know something. I mean, it hasn't failed completely. We've seen other retailers try to come up with their own tablets, and there's like 3 or 4 out there right now. All the Android tablets right now, how are they doing? Not so hot. There's iPad, and everyone thinks the Fire is going to be a big hit. The Nook the Nook Color did huge numbers because everyone was like, this is a hackable Android tablet. This is fun, and it was cheap.
Okay. I just went to the Barnes & Noble website, barnesandnoble.com, looked at the Nook specs, plays audio on built-in mono speakers. Why every site in the world doesn't have this. I have no idea, but it is there on Barnes & Noble's
Good.
site.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
One speaker.
That is so weird.
Somebody
that
in chat
everyone's
was like, maybe it's like a library thing where you can't actually bug people by having a speaker, which I think is a great idea.
Yeah,
but
no, it has
unfortunately
a speaker.
not true.
It has a speaker. When you try and use it, all you hear is shh.
quiet. You're reading.
You're in a library.
You're in
That
your
still
own
leaves
library.
the
global
unprecedented Netflix unanswered exactly what it does there. But
That that could be that they actually do have a new Netflix app that was built specifically for them, but it wasn't running on the demo unit today. That's possible. Because The Verge said they had a hard time finding a model where they could look at the Netflix app, and that may have been on purpose. I don't know.
I mean, I guess the audience for this, it must be e-readers, like e-reader folks who kind of want to try a new tablet, but they don't really want to invest in something like the iPad. Like like you said, it's a Tablireader. It doesn't really fit anywhere in the line, except that like my mom, who kind of wants a tablet but knows she wants a Kindle, might be looking at the Kindle Fire, or Barnes & Noble diehards might be going for the Nook. But it just seems like it falls in a weird place for me.
Well, and I think price is the big differentiator. I think when the Kindle Fire was announced, that's what everyone thought was, hey, it doesn't do as much as the iPad, but it's less than half the price. $200. Heck yeah, I'm buying that. That's going to be my first tablet because I can't afford an iPad. The Nook then comes out and says, well, we're $250.
And we come with a free trial with Netflix and a free trial of Hulu Plus.
We're kind of cheap. It just doesn't seem like the right pricing strategy to win this game.
Well, I mean, at least they're not doing something crazy like charging $500 for it or anything. I mean, at least at $249, it's somewhat competitive. I mean, I'm just thinking of like the Galaxy Tabs out there, and they're priced with plans. I mean, you have to get a cell connection with that, and there's a lot more ongoing costs. The $250 thing, I think for there's going to be support there. I keep saying support. I'm telling you, people who get
What about
Nooks,
content?
Well, they've been dealing with publishers for a very long time. They got Hulu Plus on board, so that's already not
Amazon's
bad.
going to kill them in content.
Yes, Amazon will probably kill them. Amazon's got their own library. They don't need Hulu Plus, and they don't need Netflix, but they have their own library.
Yeah. HTC identified 8 phones that will get Ice Cream Sandwich in early 2012. If you have the Amaze 4G, the Evo 3D, the Evo Design 4G, I don't even remember that one, the Resound, the various flavors of the Sensation, or the Vivid, you will get Ice Cream Sandwich. You'll get it later than, say, the Galaxy Nexus, but you'll get it in early 2012. Pocket Now also reports that HTC will come out with a phone called the Edge with a NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor with 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processing, the first quad-core cell phone. 4.7-inch display, 720p resolution, 8-megapixel camera. These are all rumored specs, but it pretty much looks like the HTC Resound with a quad-core processor inside. Pretty exciting if you would like to have 4 cores in your phone.
Well, and who wouldn't?
Exactly.
Is it being renamed the Edge, or are they just two different models and one's dual and one's quad?
This is a rumor, so who knows? This could be a code name. It could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it does. The specs all look like the Resound.
Can the software actually take advantage of the quad cores on this thing? Is HTC doing anything to tweak, maybe Sense UI to use other cores? I mean, like, just because you throw in extra cores doesn't mean the software knows what to do with it right off the bat.
Yeah, but it means you're going to have faster video playback and better gaming possibilities.
Sure extra cores is always better no matter what.
Yeah.
You want more cores, the better. No, I don't know.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I don't know which version it was, whether it was Gingerbread or not, but built into Android natively is the support for multiple
quad cores.
Oh, that's great. Then.
Yeah.
So that means it can run through your battery even faster. If it has 4G and 4 cores, you're going to be out in under an hour.
But that isn't always necessarily the truth, right? Because if you have more cores, sure, you have the ability to do more, but you're also balancing it more,
efficiently.
More efficiently between the different cores. So it might not run through battery that fast.
Also, Engadget has a nice article summing up all the phones that are getting Ice Cream Sandwich. If you are wondering whether your phone is on the way to Ice Cream Sandwich, HTC announced their 8 today, but there are plenty of other phones out there.
Some tablets, too.
That Engadget post. Obviously, Engadget is a sister site for TWiT, and they're great, but that post is like just a mess in terms of Android users and Android developers. One of the things that I hear from Android developers all the time, people that are thinking about developing for Android, is the devices are all over the place. There are tons of different devices out there. They all do different things. They all work under different things. And when you look at a compatibility list like this, like it's a mess. There are so many differences and so many different specs out there.
You're not saying the post is a mess. You're just saying that the fact that they have all of those things to keep track of in the Android
the
world.
post is well done and it's clear, but the fact that you have to have a post like that you have to say, this phone gets it, this phone doesn't. This phone will get it, this phone might get it, this phone will get it. Like it's crazy. Whereas when you look at and you know, I don't mean to play Apple fanboy, but that's why iPhone has such a stronger development community, because it's just so much easier to say there are 3 total operating systems that you can even look at, and this is what we're going to choose to develop for, this is what we're not. Developers look at a list like that on Android, that has to be a nightmare to put apps together for and be like, well, these apps, these users will be able to use it, but these won't, but these will someday, but these will next year. It's just a mess.
Well, especially in the denied section. I mean, I think HTC is the only carrier to at least say, Nexus 1 denied. All the other carrier or handset makers say none specified.
We're not talking.
The other thing is Apple cleans up the way they give iOS updates to people. They're like, you'll get iOS 5 asterisk, you'll get like 6 of the features. iOS 4, you'll get 3 of the features, or these will be missing. I mean, Google could easily go, ice cream sandwich, everyone gets it, or every company could, but you might not have all these other
But that
features.
happens with Android too. You get gingerbread, but not all the features work because your phone's not capable of it, right? I mean, that's just a matter of installing new software on older hardware. Sometimes features don't work.
You could just, if you say your minimum requirements for ice cream sandwich are these, and if you have a more recent phone, you can get all the features. It's just
You mean
like,
the way we've been doing operating systems since
it's marketing,
the 80s?
pretty much.
Yeah, that
I
kind
don't
of.
mean to make it into, you know, a fight about who's better or who does it easier, however it works. I'm just saying that it is literally a patchwork quilt of compatibility on Android, and as cool as an operating system called Ice Cream Sandwich must be, it's just crazy to see how different, you know, all the different handsets. It's not even on a company level. It's not even on a handset level. Like some models of handsets are getting it, some are not. Like it's just really wild to see how different the compatibility is going to be once that comes out.
And to be fair, Apple makes the hardware, and they've got at most, if you really want to think about it, 4 models, but really only 2 or 3 that are viable at any time. So it's a lot easier to develop for that than when you're saying, you know what, we're going to be somewhat open and allow people to put this on whatever hardware you want. And there's a model for that. I mean, Iyaz, I think you nailed it. Like, we just say, like, the operating system will work on these specs, and go and have fun with it.
Yeah, not to mention Ice Cream Sandwich is meant to kind of solve a lot of these kind of fragmentation issues. That doesn't do anything for the old phones, though, you know, the phones that don't get Ice Cream Sandwich. But hopefully with Ice Cream Sandwich and beyond, developers will only have to write their code, you know, one way or maybe 2 ways within their, you know, tablet and phone, and then just be done with it, and everybody would be able to run it.
Let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor, Ford, helping to bring tech news today to you. Ford is brought to you, is featuring voice-activated Sync App Link, enabling you to control select apps from your smartphone with your voice. You keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, and you talk to your car. It's like you're living in the future, except it's right now. With Sync App Link, you can do things like voice control Pandora in your car, listen to your tweets with OpenBeak just by asking a simple voice command. Once your smartphone's linked to the app, like for Pandora, you can select your favorite station. You can create a new station. You can say, I just want to listen to the new Tom Waits stuff and everything that's like that. And you say, create Tom Waits station, and you're off. You can do thumbs up, you can do thumbs down, you can have OpenBeak read you your Twitter replies. Sync App Link's built on an API platform too, so they're working with the dev community to make all kinds of cool apps that link into this. There's more than we could possibly talk about, so check it out at Ford.com/technology. And don't forget, Ford's helping us put on the TWiT Sunday barbecues. We're going to have 2 of them this winter, or fall, I guess. Sunday, November 13th, and Sunday, December 4th. Both of them start at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. You'll have a chance to meet, eat, and check out some new Fords, too. And you'll have seats to watch us record TWiT in the studio with Leo Laporte. If you'd like to join us, please go to twit.tv to request tickets. We do have a limited amount of space in here. So, I mean, it's a big studio, but you can only fit like 60 or so people and still be up to code. We don't want the firemen showing up. So thanks to Ford for bringing us the TWiT Sunday barbecue. And check it out at twit.tv. And don't forget to check out Ford at Ford.com/technology. Time for Schmidt, my chairman says. Actually, I haven't had one of these in a while, and because Eric's been either quiet or making sense. But something he said back in September is starting to make the rounds again. He was speaking to the Senate Judiciary Committee back in September and said the following: Apple's Siri is a significant development, a voice-activated means of accessing answers through iPhones that demonstrates the innovations in search, and called it a threat to their business model. Of course, he was trying to show that Google should not be subject to antitrust. So, you know,
It's talking them up so they have competition, right?
he's got a reason to say that. But yeah, with Siri being so popular right now, it's making all kinds of people examine everything anybody's ever said about it. Pioneer today launched a Siri competitor called Zipper, a free-to-use web service platform providing voice-controlled access to online services like mapping, navigation, social media, calendars, weather, and more. Pioneers, you probably know them maybe from their in-car stuff. They do a lot of in-dash entertainment stuff. But they want this to be used by smartphones, by desktops, even by their competitors. They're saying, look, we just want people to include Zipper. That's why we're not calling it Pioneer Zipper. We're just calling it Zipper, Z-Y-P-R. The service and API are free to use, free to develop on, and they hope to make their money through revenue sharing from paid search, advertising, coupons, and subscription services.
I mean, if they can get close to the way that people say that how great Siri is, and I know that Siri isn't perfect because people say that it isn't great too, to be able to partner up with virtually anybody gives them such a leg up just to start with. I mean, Siri is fine on the iPhone 4S, maybe on, you know, other Apple products in the future, but right now it's not like they have some sort of an API that anybody can tap into.
Yeah, everybody's looking at Siri and wanting to do it, either wanting to have it on their phone, like people who have an iPhone 4, for instance.
Right.
Although sources close to Apple apparently told Jailbreak Nation that Siri is being tested on devices other than the iPhone 4S, that Apple had given employee access to a special software version that incorporates Siri's features on older devices like the iPhone 4. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a, you know, sourced story, but that'd be kind of cool.
When Apple announced Siri, they said it's out in beta on the 4S. So I wonder if when it goes out of beta, it'll be available for everything.
You think that's the
That might be the little hook.
the rub
Here's
here?
your little test.
Yeah.
Your test.
It's been tossed up. There's actually been some news today as well that that Apple actually has said that it's not going to be tested at all. So we've heard from both sides. We've heard that it might be tested or it might not come out. The big question is whether they're keeping it on the 4S just because it is a 4S feature and they're trying to sell the 4S, or if you really can't do it with the dual cores and all the stuff in there. Now, I guess you guys had heard as well that it's actually working on the 3GS at some point. Someone actually got it working.
There's a video of it being run on the 3GS. These are the guys that are working on jailbreaking, essentially, iOS 5 so that Siri will run and access the servers. And Siri, the app, was working fine on my iPhone 4 right up until they announced Siri for the iPhone 4S, and then it stopped working.
Right. I would argue, I mean, I have Siri the app too. Even though they took it off the App Store, I still have it on my iPhone. Even though it doesn't connect, they turn the servers off as well. But no, you're right. I mean, we don't know really what's going on under the hood of Siri. It could be that it's using that type of processor, but at the very least, that processor matches what's in the iPad too. So hopefully, even if it doesn't come to the older iPhones, which would make sense, it will at least come to something like the iPad 2 or something like that. But you know Apple, and like I said, the other issue is they want to sell iPhone 4Ss, and right now, all the surveys say, not to mention anecdotally, that's the reason people are buying iPhone 4S is because they want to talk to Siri. So
well, and I think Pioneer is very happy to hear that because Zipper would be a huge hit if it works as well as Siri.
The Siri for everyone else.
Yeah, and then Pioneer doesn't have to do any of the advertising for it. They just sit back and reap the benefits of people including it in their services. It's a smart alternative to Siri.
It's like VHS.
Well, it's just strange to me because, I mean, doesn't Microsoft kind of have this with Sync? I mean, you go play, playlist, whatever. Now, maybe it's not as natural language, but this was one of the things that actually worked. This is not because of the ad. This is actually something I thought about for a while.
Microsoft's making their money off of selling it in Microsoft, embedded products and deals and stuff. It's just not doing it as openly necessarily as Zipper's doing it.
So I'm just wondering
go ahead.
I was just wondering if they were going to build that more into Windows Phone, because I know that has voice controls as well. So I'm just wondering, like, I think what's going on with Apple,
they have to be, right?
They have Siri, and they have these great ads, and people are like, oh, I should be able to talk to stuff. Now, Google's had this with Android for a long time. Google's doing it with their web search, too. You can actually click the little microphone button. I don't know if that's actually rolled out, but they announced that a while ago.
Yeah,
and Microsoft has it. So if everybody has it, and Apple's the only one doing the ads for it, I mean, it just seems a little strange.
Windows Phone doesn't have the sync functionality.
It does have some
in
voice control.
It has voice
Right.
control,
Well,
but iPhones had voice control.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I unfortunately have an iPhone 4. I don't have a 4S, but we did talk on the 2 Out Talkcast last night a little bit about Siri and how it works. And the magic moment for Siri is not because Siri, the problem I have with the Siri interface is when you look at Siri, you don't know what it can do. There's nothing there that tells you that it can do these things.
Because it can do everything.
Right, because that's the thing. The magic moment with Siri is when you aren't sure, when you ask it something where you're not sure if you'll get the right answer or not, and then you do get the right answer, that's when it really works the best, and that's when it really sells to people. So I think, yes, voice control is one thing. Siri, when it works the way it's supposed to, is not voice control. It really is an information engine. It really does it really is realistically interacting with the computer in terms of asking your voice. So, and again, I don't have it, and obviously it hasn't been sold to me. Like I'm not sold on buying the 4S, just an upgrade just to use Siri. But ideally, this is what Apple's supposed to be advertising, that you can ask Siri something where you're not sure, not the funny like, Siri, where are you? And blah, 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 and all the jokes we've seen around. But you can really ask for information that you're not sure if it'll give it back to you or not, and then it does. And that's the magic that they're trying to sell.
I thought you were going to say Siri is not just voice control, it's a friend.
Well, for those of us, yeah. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. For those of us who need friends out there,
yeah,
Siri can be there for us.
Exactly. Thank goodness for that. RIAA lawyer Jennifer Pariser, during a panel discussion at the New York Entertainment and Technology Law Conference, said that, quote, the DMCA is just not providing the kind of protection against online piracy that Congress intended. Now, her point is that she feels it's unbalanced in favor of the ISPs, that the courts have made it that way by their decisions that interpret what's called the red flag provision very narrowly. ISPs must not have knowledge or reason to know of direct infringement. The industry has gone after ISPs many times on this, but the courts have always said, well, they have to have real knowledge, not suspicions. And that's been YouTube's defense is, sure, we can look at something and say, well, that is a copyrighted work, but we don't know if the account holder is a teenager that copyright and is infringing copyright, or a manager of a business that's trying to promote that movie by putting a clip out there. And we would have to investigate, and we're not police. So the way the DMCA works is that the industry then has to police themselves, and she says that's not the way it's supposed to work. Even after we get infringing clips removed, new ones show up immediately, and we need to stop this. We need a stronger, newer DMCA, and maybe we'll go to Congress and ask for one.
That's a great idea. I mean, the DMCA already makes you a criminal for ripping your own DVDs, so it'll make absolutely everybody a criminal for doing anything ever, so then it'll be unenforceable.
That's what she wants, just be a criminal for doing anything.
I don't know if that's exactly what she wants.
Seems ridiculous. I mean, the thing is, she's saying that Congress has it right, but the courts are getting it wrong. It's like, well, the courts are trying to apply something called reason sometimes. Sometimes these things have really vague meanings, and somebody has to make it make sense, and that's where courts fit in to this whole thing. Because if everything was as easy as, I'll just write a new rule, then there would never be a court system. It would just be, well, that's an infraction. You know the rule. That's $50. There you go. But the courts are trying.
And if there's one group out there, if there's one organization out there that could really use a legislative break, it's probably the recording industry of America. I mean, let's give them a chance, guys. Let's really help them out on this Congress thing, because they really haven't gotten the legislation that they wanted over the past 10 years or so.
Yeah, when you pay for good legislation, you want it to work the way you paid for it. I don't think that's unreasonable for them to ask for. I mean, sure, we talked Friday about the fact that all the copyright-motivated industries are outperforming all the other industries in the recession, but that doesn't mean they'll continue to. Those margins could erode 1 or 2%.
Come on, guys.
If we don't take away all of your fair use rights. So please listen to RIAA lawyer Jennifer Pariser's comments. Read them for yourself. Make up your own mind about who needs what in this situation. Let's finish up with something that could solve all of this for all of us: darknets. Ars Technica's Ryan Paul has a great story on the Darknet Project, or TDP. Met on IRC last week. They're coordinating through Reddit. It's another one of many organizations trying to create a decentralized web of interconnected wireless mesh networks. Now, when I say a lot of people, I mean there's a lot of different organizations. Anonymous set up Operation Mesh in reaction to ACTA to pursue this. The U.S. State Department is pursuing this because they see it as a way to empower free expression abroad in dictatorships. There are a lot of nonprofit organizations going after this. And so TDP is the newest one. Basically, they say their goal is to create an alternative free internet through a global mesh network, and they'll establish local meshes and connect them via infrastructure. Now, Paul does say that their meeting didn't really roll out a practical implementation. It was a little short on technical solutions. But what I got from reading this article, and I encourage you to go to Ars Technica and read it, is that we have a groundswell here. And if these organizations can all get together, they could create an actual mesh network. And what you need with a mesh network is a groundswell, because the way it works is, instead of having an ISP, my phone passes data through my laptop, which passes it through Sarah's laptop, which passes it over through those Dells over there, which passes it across the street. And you actually don't have a central server that you could ever go after and ask to monitor your communications or take away your fair use rights. You've got to do it in a properly encrypted way. And that's what all of these organizations are trying to figure out, which is, how do you do this in a way that makes sure that your information does stay protected? But it's definitely technologically feasible.
Yeah, this is really exciting stuff. I'm excited about it. And this is like Neil Stephenson, Cryptonomicon, like breaking the government's kind of stuff. The only problem with this is the same thing, the same issues that you had when open source was getting started, which is it's so loosely interconnected that you really wonder if people are going to organize enough to actually get it working and get a standard going and get it happening. I hope that they do, and obviously the open source movement has come a long way and done a lot of really cool things. So hopefully it'll work out. But you know, it's a question of, you know, is Reddit the really place you want to be organizing something this important and something this interesting? Is that gonna work it out? That's the only question I have.
Well, whatever tool you use is fine. Whatever works for you. But there are some pretty good organizations out there like Serval, creating ad hoc wireless mesh networks for smartphones. There's a few others like Freenet out there pursuing software for building darknets. So I've been like you up until this point, like, yeah, this would be nice. It's going to take a lot of work. I don't know if there's really enough momentum to get something like this going. But after reading this, I realized, you know what? If these guys all just get talking, I don't care if it's on Reddit or IRC or through some other situation, the anonymous folks have got a lot of work done in I2P anonymous network layer software and the Batman ad hoc wireless routing protocol. They know how to stay secret. Put them on the task of keeping stuff encrypted. You've got Freenet folks building darknets on top of existing internet infrastructure. Get them to figure out how to make sure everything is routed properly and cover the dark spots where you don't have enough critical mass to keep the mesh going, but you could still get traffic through the regular internet. Get Serval to handle the smart. There's so many different elements here. Get the State Department on board to give us the money to do this, because they have an interest in this.
Because that's the other side of it is, let's say people do get together and let's say people do build this technology that can really build out these wireless networks and scale out these wireless mesh networks. Then you got to get the other way around and start bringing consumers on, or bringing the low-level users on. And at that point, like, that's the issue with Linux, is it doesn't have anybody really giving it oversight to sort of build a bridge to bring people in.
But the internet doesn't have any oversight right now either.
Well, no,
I mean, it has lots of little oversight, but there's no one running the internet.
Right, and I don't say oversight in terms of you can do this and you can do this and you can do this, but oversight in terms of creating the experience that pulls in people who don't know what a wireless mesh network is and don't quite understand how that stuff works. Because those are the crowds that you need to get if you really want to move on to a different type of network. I
think all those arguments were made about the internet we have now, and it happened. I mean, I see this as just a history repeating itself, and everybody in the chat room is like, you don't want the government involved. The government created the god dang internet that you're using right now. Sometimes you do want the government involved. You just don't want them to be involved too far. And I think the State Department, motivated to help dictators, people free express in dictatorships, probably is a good way to at least get part of the work done. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being Pollyanna here, but I see a world where the State Department and Anonymous are working together to bring us free mesh networks and protect our speech rights.
Oh man, I just cried a little bit. That was heartwarming right there. That was incredible.
All hand in hand, flowers and sunshine. Let's move on to the news fuse. Dish seems pretty serious about getting into the LTE phone service. DailyWireless.org reports Dish submitted a filing with the FCC to allay any fears that its proposed network would cause interference with existing systems. Dish purchased satellite operators TerreStar and DBSD North America after the companies went bankrupt, and the Dish LTE network would use the 2 gigahertz spectrum. LightSquared, remember we've talked a lot about LightSquared, which wants to do a similar thing, uses the 1.6 gigahertz frequency. That's a lot closer to the GPS band, which causes interference. So who knows? Dish may be the people to bring us this satellite-based LTE. Just go wholesale like Light Squared does, Dish, and I'll be right behind you.
Let's check in now on patent wars. Google's Tim Porter, one of Google's patent patrol people, told the San Francisco Chronicle the usual stuff about overbroad software patents. He also engaged in the becoming usual Microsoft bashing. Everybody loves doing that. Porter said when their products stop succeeding in the marketplace, they use the large patent portfolio they've built up to get revenue from the success of other companies' products. Zing.
What's this? More patent wars. Motorola Mobility. Well, we don't need the rope. Motorola Mobility won a German patent injunction against Apple, but don't get too upset / excited yet. The Verge's Nilay Patel explains Apple runs two operations in Germany, Apple Inc. and Apple Germany. Apple Inc. lost its case, but it doesn't actually sell anything in Germany. Apple Germany sells Apple products in the country, and it is still in the middle of its lawsuit against Motorola, which means you can still get Apple products in Germany. Hooray for fictional corporate entities.
Hooray! YouTube just signed a $10 to $15 million deal with Disney Interactive Media for original short-form web videos. We don't know the actual value. It's not like they didn't know it. You'll find the Disney content on a co-branded channel on both YouTube and Disney.com when it launches. Disney Interactive hopes this could replace some of the $300 million it lost in the last 4 quarters. For YouTube, this expands its plans to offer more professional content.
I'm looking forward to Mini Girl 15. I can't wait to see some Disney content on YouTube.
All right, Mickey? Prepare to be inundated by a very exciting marketing campaign designed to get you to realize that Windows Phone exists. I'm being kind of mean. This year, Microsoft is working along with vendors and wireless carriers to provide an advertising blitz for Windows Phone. Last year, only Microsoft bore the burden of advertising. As part of the new campaign, Microsoft held an event today promoting the latest Windows phones like the Samsung Focus S and the HTC Radar. The company even built a 6-story Windows Phone in New York's Herald Square, because that's how you sell phones. You build big old phone things.
Nobody actually looked up at that phone because they were all too busy on their iPhones.
Oh,
spoken like someone from the unofficial Apple website.
Schramm slam.
Schramm slam. Nice.
Investment bank Barclays Capital has cut its estimates for PC growth in the 4th quarter, citing a weak PC market and a shortage of hard drives after the flooding in Thailand. For the year, the forecast has been lowered from 4.4% to 3.4%. A Digitimes report also mentions due to the shortage of hard drives, manufacturers are turning to a gray market since their orders aren't being filled.
Hey, I'm going to start putting my hard drives up on eBay.
Just fell off a truck.
Yeah, Craigslist. Hey, want a hard drive? I'll just have them under my coat. Just want to buy a hard drive. HP's still making computers. Don't forget that. And it just announced its newest all-in-one called the HP TouchSmart 623D, which has, you probably guessed it, 3D capabilities. This TouchSmart has a 1080p display, beats audio, that's the Dr. Dre stuff, comes with a pair of 3D glasses, even has a 3D webcam. It'll launch on the 15th of November at $1,900 after rebate.
The Verge is reporting that Motorola is going to launch the Corvair, which is a tablet aimed at the living room.
Oh, not the car. Thank goodness.
No, that's different. Content from the tablet would be beamed to a television by communicating with a cable box. The Corvair would run Android 2.3 Gingerbread and would also act as a remote control using RF and IR. We don't really have a whole lot of other details on specs, but we'll have them eventually.
Charlie Rose recorded an interview with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg. Already notable snippets are making the rounds, such as Zuckerberg calling Google Plus a little version of Facebook.
Facebookito.
And Facebook would not be building games. The Facebook founder also mentioned that while people like to talk about war in the tech industry, companies like Amazon and Apple are actually complementary to companies like Facebook.
You're very nice. No, you're very nice.
Not in that way.
Oh, not complimentary. Complimentary. Okay. Let's move on to randomizer.
Randomizer.
Amazon, you look great
Speaking
today.
of complimentary.
Yes, Google TV has finally cracked it. They figured out how to win the set-top box wars. Everyone's going to be buying Google TVs because they added an adult video channel, courtesy of Vivid. Want to win this game? You go porn.
I like how we see a picture of the Incredible Hulk.
It's actually
But it's just a triple X
kind
porn
of
parody.
inserting.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of frightens me.
That is not Lou Ferrigno.
No,
that is not the original David Banner.
They've got everything.
Now, it's apparently an HTML5-based web app, so no download. You can just watch your porn directly on
Oh, it's HTML5-based web app. That's hot.
Very.
That's all I got.
Again, porn saved VHS.
Well,
so
Google
There you go.
So YouTube has a deal with Disney, so they got the kids there. And Google TV has porn now. So that's
So you're
good.
just saying that you get them at all stages of life?
It's an end-to-end solution from Google. You know,
So to
I just
speak.
want to know the guy that's like, man, forget about the Google TV. I'm ready to watch porn. Finally, a place to watch porn.
They're not the
No?
Google TV is not the first one to have adult content.
Cable has adult content. A lot of things have adult content. I mean, it's not exactly the end of anything.
But you know what? When your back's up against the wall, no, never mind.
Tom Merritt.
I can't.
Wow.
I can't do it.
And other set-top boxes also have adult content, like
Thank you.
like Roku. I think they have Fire, and there's a whole bunch of other. Little
Thank you
apps
for
there.
bringing reason to this discussion.
So porn for all.
Let's take a long pause to get distance between that conversation and our sponsor, Slingbox. This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Slingbox. Just in time for the holidays, Slingbox introduces their new iPad app. Now you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it, whether you're on the road, anywhere in the world. There's no blackout restrictions. You watch everything on your home TV wherever you are. I use it around the house as often as I do on the road because I'm not on the road as often as I'm at home. And in my house, I can be in my office working on the computer, keep an eye on something, watch something off my DVR on my iPad while I'm sitting there playing Warcraft or something. Just multitask the hell out of it. Go check it out. Slingbox.com. Slingbox in your home TV, now appearing on iPads everywhere. On to the calendar.
Ex-IBM CEO John Opel has passed away at age 86. He actually passed away last Thursday, November 3rd. Mr. Opel spent more than 3 decades with IBM. He held a bunch of positions, ended up at CEO, which he stayed with until 1985. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is ready for its big launch tonight at midnight, which is officially November 8th, but you might know somebody who either got a lucky advance unit or maybe somebody got one because they stole it off a truck.
What?
Yeah, actually in France, 2 different delivery trucks carrying the game were held up by gunmen.
Wow.
And thousands of copies were stolen.
Can I get that map for Call of Duty?
The plan on how
Ask
to
the
attack
gunman.
They should publish that. I'd like to play through that scenario.
Yeah, wouldn't that be? It's just
The
like
Call of Duty theft map on Call of Duty.
not one truck, 2 coordinated attacks. People are really
Sacre
serious
bleu,
about
France.
it over there. Exactly. Verizon's running a promotion that doubles the data cap for 4G LTE users. The promotion begins tomorrow. It's Tuesday, November 8th, which is very conveniently right ahead of the Droid Razr launch. Hasn't announced an end date yet, but as for that Razr launch date, it's not only November 11th, but it's November 11th at 11:11 a.m.
For some reason.
Also Skyrim.
Also, that's when World War I ended.
So, are we
All
to
true.
Are we
All
to
those
think
things are
that
true.
Too soon.
Verizon feels that
Verizon too soon.
there will be more peace in this
I don't know.
land
There could
once
be
the
some.
Razr is on
There
the...
could be some
End of the
veterans taking
smartphone
offense
wars,
to that.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. I think people just like to say 11:11:11 at 11:11. I think that's probably as far as they went with.
11 seconds.
Firefox 8 is available for FTP download now, but goes official tomorrow, November 8th. The Panasonic Lumix DMC 3D1 camera has been announced. It'll be available in December for $500. And finally, you may have heard about this whole asteroid 2005 YU-55. Big asteroid. It's like as big as an aircraft carrier, and everybody's really scared that it's going to crash into us and
Because
kill
it is.
everybody. No, it's going to get within the moon's orbit tomorrow, but it's not actually going to hit Earth.
Sure, that's what they tell you.
Well, why would they lie?
Then that would alarm us, and we would just quit our
I
jobs.
mean,
and
they're in danger just as much as we are.
No,
they say a lot.
have a bunker.
I see. Well, okay. You can believe what you want.
It's the secret government you have to
But
watch out
there's
for.
this little thing called science. And the scientists out there say, you know what we could do? Because we can track these asteroids. We already know that this asteroid's coming close to us because we track things like this. If we know something that's going to get close enough ahead of time, what we do is we launch a robotic probe to get close to the asteroid, and then the gravitational pull from the probe can actually change the course of the asteroid. So it might get close, but it's not actually going to hit us.
By the way,
no deep impact.
Well-known fact, robotic probe is the NSA's code word for Bruce Willis. Just saying. Time for income.
I was going to say, if we can send a robotic probe and we can alter... Oh, something's happening.
No, that's all right. We went on to the incoming segment, but finish your thought.
I was just going to say, if we can send a robotic probe out and we can alter the course of an asteroid, I vote do it. Like, let's just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just move the asteroid around.
I'm with
Why
you.
not? That's awesome.
Let's start playing asteroids. We could crowdsource
Yeah.
it. You know?
All right. There's a message incoming. Tom,
Yeah, there
what's
is.
going
There is.
on?
It's time for our incoming segment. We got a video voicemail from Kian in Vancouver about Sony's decision to reduce PlayStation Network games to only 2 devices.
I want to talk about your November 4th episode where you talked about the PSN game limit being reduced down to 2. While I agree with you that it's a bad PR move for Sony, I can also see why they would do it, because a lot of people were using that to buy the game and then give it out to all their friends, and they would have it for free. And with the PlayStation Vita coming out, where all their games are going to be downloadable, that could turn out to be a serious problem. So I can see why they would do it. It should also be noted that this only affects content purchased after November 18th. So all the stuff that you've bought already won't be affected by this rule. Love the show. Thanks.
Thanks, Kian. And, you know, we had it in the notes about the post effect of this, the fact that anything you've bought up until the 18th won't be affected. I can't remember, maybe we missed that. So thanks for making that clear. I still think, though, why do you limit it? What are you stopping? I understand what you're saying, where some people were going and figuring out, oh, I can just log in on another person's game and play it there. Why shouldn't they be able to do that? I can take a disc over and put it in someone else's PS3 and play it. You know, is this really eroding Sony's ability to sell games? That's my problem with all this stuff. If they were like, we can't afford to make any more games anymore, then maybe we would have to do something. But this is the way digital technology works, and instead of breaking it, I think I've been saying this for 10 years now. You have to find other ways to make money off it, and people are. And if Sony doesn't do it, other game companies are, and other game companies are figuring it out.
Right, and to go from the other side of it, the people that are trading their usernames and passwords to friends to download extra copies of games, they're going to find another way to share those games around and do it anyway. I mean, people will always steal games and hack games and take games away. So, yeah, I agree. You shouldn't limit your customers in this way. Again, 2 devices, maybe two to 5 devices is too much. He also said that the Vita would really cause a problem with this, but the PSP Go is already downloadable only. So I don't think that you're going to have any more issues with this than you'd have anywhere else. And
but nobody bought the PSP Go.
Yeah, yeah, no one cared about that either. But no, I mean, this limits people who have, I guess, 3 devices in their house, 3 to 5 devices in their house. So sorry to those people, because those people are some of Sony's best customers. Who buys 3 Sony devices? Yeah. Except people that really like Sony.
You just dissuaded them from doing that if they were going to.
Thanks. So if they listen in, Sony.
Finally, email from the Moke says he stumbled across an online retailer in London that allows you to trade in downloadable games purchased through them in exchange for a credit toward a new digitally downloaded game. They offer a client similar to Valve Stream. It's called greenmangaming.com. Go to greenmangaming.com, and if you're in the UK, I imagine they probably don't allow you to use it outside of the UK, but if you're in the UK, you can actually release your licenses, essentially, and get credit for new games. It's kind of an interesting way, if you're going to use DRM, to at least give a benefit for it.
I'd like to see more companies go the other way, and you buy a PC game in the store and you get a Steam code for it. We've seen a couple of companies do that already, but there's no reason why, you know, if you're buying a physical copy of a game, there's no reason why you shouldn't sort of have access to it and be able to get it on any other computers you happen to have up. But yeah, that's cool for UK people, I guess.
I mean, the idea of trading in downloadable games is just as ridiculous to me as this limiting your access to the games. You know, it's a digital copy. You can't trade it in.
Right.
That's just as silly to me, but okay. Thanks to everybody on our Reddit. TechNewsToday.reddit.com is the place to submit stories and vote on what stories we are going to use on the show each day. We appreciate everybody's contributions in there, whether they're submitting stories or just voting. TechNewsToday.reddit.com. And don't forget to submit your favorite moments of TNT at twit.tv/bestof. In fact, you can do it for any of the Twitch shows, but if you have a favorite moment, we're trying to compile what those are and put them together in a best of show that Jason will edit together and will put out at the end of the year. So twit.tv/bestof. And we thank you, everybody who is submitting and who will submit, for doing that. Mike Schramm, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have you, man.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure and a lot of fun, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Let folks know where they can find your work online.
The best place to go is probably on Twitter. I'm at Mike Schramm, which is MikeSchramm. I write for Joystick every day, and I write for the unofficial Apple weblog every day, which is at TUAW.com. And then I have my own website, which is at MikeSchramm.com. But Twitter, I pretty much tell everybody what's most important on Twitter. So.
Excellent. All right, and some folks in the chat room are saying you can use Green Man Gaming outside of the UK. So cool.
There you go.
Nice. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. You can find us on the web at twit.tv/TNT. You can email us, TNT@twit.tv, or give us a call, 260-TNT-SHOW. Leave us a voicemail, or record a video mail and send it to us, TNT@twit.tv. We love hearing from you. Please do it. Sarah Houghton joins us tomorrow. We'll see you then.